Good afternoon and welcome back to another edition of Bernal Connect. Tracy, how are you?
Really good. We're just gearing up for vacation that's happening. So we'll be gone for 2 weeks to Vancouver, and a lot of our neighbors are gone as well. So feels like it's just like summer vacation vibes right now in the neighborhood. And yeah, it's great. How about you, Mike?
I've been busy. We've been out on the hill pulling weeds and taking out invasives and planting plants and, getting dirty. I did manage to almost saw my finger off yesterday, but, that was that. However, we do have a guest with us today. Harriet, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Harriet is with Movement from Everyone for Everyone, excuse me. So Harriet, tell us a little bit about the business. I know that you recently relocated, so tell us about that and welcome to Burnham.
Thank you. Yes, so I am a Bernal resident, and so this is like a great chance for me when my space in the Richmond was being retaken by the main renter there. It was a shared space. I used it as an opportunity to streamline my life operations and move closer to home. So I wasn't commuting so much, which was a little bit of a big risk, but also it's been so great to be close to home because we live on the South Slope. And so now this Bernal location has been really great to come home, really.
So I see you have a
And the
bunch of
business,
S&M
oh,
equipment behind you.
yes, exactly. So it's actually more akin to the free motion machine at the gym.
Okay,
And I can I can do a little demo. That's kind of
sure.
what I plan to do because how else do you describe something that looks like this when you think as you described, like so many people say, this looks like torture, this does not look like fun, and it's very intimidating, and you think, oh my gosh, there's a huge like learning curve, and no, it's pretty intuitive once you actually get going. Um, I think more intimidating to me is like the fast track railing there with all of my studio toys. So I have a whole bunch of like props, like a Pilates studio would have. Um, yeah. So this is the Gyrotonic pulley tower. And let me change the camera angle. We're in a very snug shared space with synced Pilates. So this is the pulley tower, and there's the handle unit. You sit straddling the bench, and you can move these around. So that's not too bad, right? Not too bad so far. And it's adjustable. And so what you do, kind of like if you've done Pilates reformer work, you have to set up your reformer a certain way. And so this is a similar setup. You can adjust the tension, you can adjust the length, the width, all the things. And then we work moving the handles around in a circular motion with an undulate motion, which is what makes Gyrotonic very unique. Um, and so far, not painful. It's easy. Um, yeah, and then so we were moving the body in a variety of planes. We're moving it in back bending to undesk yourself, forward bending, so that you can do this. You should try it with me right now. Just sit in your chair. Yeah,
Great,
just
now we
do it
have to
with me right
work.
now. Well, yeah. You don't have to work. It's not work. You just have to look up, and then you look down, and then you look up, and you move your spine as much as you feel comfortable. You don't have to move it a lot, and down.
And
And
here,
so that's so far. Yeah,
are your feet on the
yeah.
planted
My
on
feet
the?
are my feet are
Okay.
on the ground. Yeah, there's nothing special to that. So I'm about 45-degree angle apart. That just is so you can have ease of movement and sit upright easily. Because when we are sitting like on my sofa or you sit on your desk chair with your thigh bones on your chair, it makes you slump.
Yeah.
We all slump as we sit. And so the more forward you sit with your thigh bones free from the chair, then it's easier to sit upright. That's like an easy hack right there if you want better posture and you don't have a standing desk. So
Mm.
that's why we have this straddling the bench situation, because then your thighs, I know I wore black pants, so that your thighs, my pelvis is sitting on the bench, and then my thighs are off. So then we go into side bending this
Cool.
way, right? You just follow the handle around. You could do that with a foam roller. So that's with the handle. And you get a nice stretch to the side of your back. Since you don't have equipment, you would basically do side bending like this, you know,
Okay. Tell us a
and
little bit
then we
about
have,
that you're sitting on now, and how much is it like? How big is it? It looks pretty big. And
oh
can
yeah,
people
can you buy it? So that's so interesting. It gets a little bit like fitness industry nerdy about that. But the two pieces, the bench and the pulley tower, you they're about $6,700 a piece. And it's
Oh,
not something you buy for yourself. Like this is something, if you wanted to buy one, you would um, take a training course, like take a teacher training course, and you don't necessarily have to teach with it, but they want to be sure that you know what you're doing with it.
mhm.
Um, Versus like you can buy a reformer on Amazon, which is great. You don't need to have any, it's not a higher education type of situation. But you need about a 6 foot footprint, and the bench is an independent unit. It slides in and out, or you move it out of the way. Um, the other spinal motion that we go through a lot is the rotation. So you rotate and you look behind yourself. This is um, the classic, like someone called your name and you turn around and you look to see who called your name. Who's there?
And is your
And then that
the whole time, or are you a little bit more relaxed, or
you can, and that's where you can play with that, because all of these spinal motions, the spinal flexion and extension, or the forward bending and back bending, the side bending and the rotation can all work together in various combinations. So my favorite one is you're sitting in your car and you have something fell down in the baseboards and you have to turn around and reach down. And so that combination, which is where a lot of us, like, you feel like you get a stitch in your side or cramp or anything like that. Um, so that's kind of the idea is that in gyrotonic, you train the body to adapt to all of those weird situations that you don't usually get to plan for.
Mhm.
And
Or
is this
like
is this
yeah, you can
primarily
talk
for
to me as a
posture, or tell me the benefits?
the benefits are posture is a huge one. It also just like helps with blood flow, like all exercise. The circulation through the lymph, because you're getting a lot of arm motion. It's great for shoulder mechanics. So if you're had a rotator cuff injury, you need to get back to strengthening your shoulder. This is a very low stakes way doing this handle work as a starting point. You learn it's a lot of neuromotor retraining. So you like learn how to move again after you've had a rotator cuff and you need to learn how to raise your arm up overhead. We're basically practicing doing that right now, just slowly reaching arms. For anyone who's like had to do an exercise from physical therapy where you crawl your fingers up a wall. You both are too young for that, perhaps, but maybe not. It happens to us all. But you,
I'm
so
not, but
just to
fortunately, I've
slow,
not had that problem.
right, there you go. So when you have to, you're basically that this exercise crawling up the wall is used to teach people how to slowly reach overhead without your tops of your shoulders really cramping up tightly. So this is a similar idea here. And it feels
Tracy's
good.
a better
And
participator than I am, obviously.
I mean, you don't you didn't come prepared for that. You
I
weren't
did not.
expecting to do exercise. That's fine. So we also can do um, leg work. You get to lie down and you get to put this is where the S&M part might seem a little bit more pronounced, but it's really just like a free motion machine at the gym. It happens to have a bench in front of it, so you can lie down on that. And then I'll change the camera angle slightly so you can see me from a better angle.
I don't see a lot of weights, Harriet. Like this is all just um
Oh
like
yeah,
box. Yeah.
this is resistance. The handles are resistance, so there's a belt in here that you tighten.
You see.
So you can change the resistance, but we don't measure it in poundage necessarily. So it's mostly body weight. The pulley tower has a weight stack. Um, and it has some extra spring resistance in the back that you can add onto it. But what's great about this pulley weight system is that, similar to the free motion machine that you would find at a regular gym, the the resistance remains the same and constant throughout any range of motion. So if I bring my leg down and I circle my leg around, the resistance remains the same. So it's more like dry land swimming, and you
Mm,
work on integrating movements into your body and adding some proprioceptive feedback. So the awareness of your body in space and working each side independently. So for Pilates aficionados, you have a reformer and you put your feet into the straps and you do all these leg pushes, which is great. Pilates exercise is fabulous. But with this system, you learn how to kind of integrate your legs through your pelvis into your body. So the upper body and lower body work harmoniously. I'm trying to think of, I can show you just the basic stuff if you want, you want me to lie down and do it.
Maybe we
Or
can answer a couple of, can we ask you a couple of questions?
yeah,
Okay,
always.
let's go that way. How about so who typically comes to you and why?
A whole range of people come to me. It started with dancers. So I see a lot of dancers. I was a former dancer. I danced with Ballet San Jose, commuting from the city. And then I
So
used
is
to
this
teach ballet as well.
post injury?
You can do it post injury. You can also do it not post injury.
Okay.
I think I think that's the special case with gyrotonic is that it it is ideal for the situation where you finished your PT, but you don't feel ready to return to your sport or whatever you like to do. Um, so gyrotonic exercise can help you create the body confidence and awareness to feel good about returning to sport. I just recently saw a marathon runner who ran over the marathon this weekend, and I've seen people who have never exercised. I've seen high level athletes. This is only a portion of the equipment. There's also specialized equipment. So there's more body weight stuff. There's a TRX like component to it. There's like a Nordic track type machine. There's like a quad type machine. So there's a bunch of other things that I don't have here right now in this setup that are able to support high level athletes as a conditioning for their sport. So like if you're a soccer player, there's some World Cup soccer players, basketball players. So active stretching, you could say active stretching. So if you're not powerlifting with any of the weight here, maxes out at like 75 pounds per side. And the goal is not to lift heavier with this. The goal is to find more coordination and control of your body. So it's great for people who need support or need feedback. So older people, it's very helpful, but also people who have hypermobility, spectrum disorders. It's a great way for them to learn to be confident in the world, because when your body's so flexible, you're always worried about, putting a shoulder out of joint, or your knee goes out of your dislocates all the time. You need some tools in order to help you get through your day. So those are some great populations. People who are always saying they're chronically tight and they don't like to stretch. This is what I do. You come and see me, and you can be in a group class or you can be in a one-on-one environment, and you will stretch, but you will stretch in an active way that's shown to provide more lasting and beneficial results than just static stretching. I think that everybody knows that these days.
And typically, how often would people participate?
That's such a great question. And this is where maybe I'm not the consummate salesperson, is that it's however often you can come is how often you should come. That said, ideally twice a week is good. And I feel like for most people who are ramping up, starting with one-on-ones, depending on your condition, like if you are rehabilitating from an injury and you have a specific time frame of which you need to work, I see people 3 times a week. If you are training for a special event, you work with someone one-on-one and you train one to 3 times a week. If you have your body feels fine and you just want to exercise, maybe you could attend one group class a week, two group classes. It kind of depends on the mix and the balance of other activities that you do during your life. So if we're your one and only thing, you would probably want to work up to coming more than once a week. And we have a couple different class formats that you could do. If you like to go and work out at the gym and you have your own routine already, and this is a supplement to that, maybe you'll only see me once a week. So it kind of depends on what your goals are, where you're coming from, where you want to go, your time, your budget. But we have a couple formats. We have a stool and a mat based format called gyrokinesis. So you don't need any of the specialized equipment to do that. And that was very popular on Zoom during the pandemic. And I still teach a Zoom class. So it's very accessible to people who maybe have limited mobility. And you can do that in a range that feels good for you. So I provide you with the instruction and a variety of options in which are going to support you and your body where it is and as I know it to be. Then there's the group tower classes. So they're small classes with just 4 people. I have four pulleys and pulley towers in here. And then one-on-one appointments. So often a mix of those is good. Again, it all depends on your goals.
And typically afterwards, are you sore? Are you loose? How are you going to feel after the fact?
Okay. Also depends on what the goals are.
Sure.
If you generally, for a first time, I don't push people very hard, and it depends on your level of fitness coming into it. But most people feel like we focus on a lot of breathing, so they feel slightly stoned. It's generally how they feel because they've been respirating a lot, and very relaxed. And quite often, depending on your level of fitness, you might feel like you've not done much working out for your very first time. There is a learning curve with like how to use the equipment, the types of motions that you're doing. It's not very usual. So the first session is generally pretty low key. Subsequent sessions, people do get sore. We work our abdominal muscles, you work your glutes, you work your legs, you work your feet, you work your shoulders, you work everything. And so if, we're focusing on upper body work and you don't generally use your shoulder muscles, then you might feel a little sore, but it's not CrossFit, put it that way.
You'll be able to walk when you leave, you mean?
You'll be able to walk out of here, no problem. I would just try to think, with some of the specialized equipment, some people, when we target more specific muscle groups, often people, have inner thigh weakness that happens just by being a human being in the world against gravity in our modern society. So your inner thigh muscles might, if we focus on working those, they might feel a little sore. But generally people walk out here and they feel
Pilates,
good.
where you haven't worked your core and then all of a sudden you're working your core. So it's going to be sore. Yeah.
Exactly. Most of the time people, particularly people who have been dealing with chronic pain and they haven't been able to work out and they haven't been able to find anything that they can do that doesn't aggravate their symptoms. This has been a really great practice for them because it is very similar to Pilates in that we can adapt to your body and where it needs to be and help guide you where we think would be a helpful path for you as far as recovering to a better frame of being. But like my runner who came in had nerve pain down their leg, and it was really impeding in their quality of life. And after 5 sessions, they were like, oh, I barely have any pain at all. And this has been something they had been working on for themselves. And it was a couple months and they hadn't really had injuries before and nothing was really working. And so this was just a way to break out of that rut and to get back to training.
And do you have complimentary service providers? Do you get referrals from the physical therapist? Do you work with massage people? Are there different modalities that work along with this?
Yes. I feel like, again, it all depends on what your goals are and what your issues are that you come with in your body. So if you are chronically tight in your shoulders, we can try and stretch you as much as you want. But if you don't also go and have a massage at least every now and again, that's not going to be as effective. So preparing your body is a multifaceted partnership between many providers. And I feel like post rehabilitation, working with a physical therapist is, for me, one of the best gifts, because a physical therapist has already been working with this person. They know their body and they know what their injury is and they know where they need to go, but they can't often carry them all the way through to feeling like, yeah, I'm ready to go at 100%. They can take them maybe to 75%, and then health insurance stops covering for your PT. And so this is unfortunately not covered by insurance at this point, but we're working to get that, because I'm not a physical therapist, but I can work under physical therapist instructions, so they can tell me, okay, Tracy needs to work on strengthening her external shoulder rotators because she's been lifting too many real estate signs, and that's been a big problem. So then I can
From
use the
selling all those
tools that I
houses.
have. I know, selling so many houses. Yes. So I can use the tools available to me under the guidance of Tracy's physical therapist. Say, the PT will say, you need to work on this with Tracy, and this is what we've been doing. You just kind of take it from here. And so that's ideal, and particularly for diagnostics. So if you come, Mike, if you have back pain, but you're like, it's always been hurting me, I don't really know, I would prefer to work with a healthcare provider to have you have a diagnosis first, and then they can recommend treatment, and then I can carry that along for you.
And do you find that, like, what's kind of interesting is, the healthcare professional might, see one thing and you may see something else. Do you ever?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, I do appreciate working collaboratively. One of my I went to a rehabilitation conference that specialized. It was for gyrotonic practitioners, but also there's some overlap with physical therapists, and there were some great lectures that talk about that interstitial space between being broken and being fixed, and the spectrum of getting from one state to the other. I'm sorry, I just lost the thread. What you asked me?
I was asking about, a lot of times we'll go to our primary and he's like, "Oh, you have this," but
Oh,
then
you're looking for something, seeing something different. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, this is the whole cliche of the body is connected. Everything in the body is connected. And so for me, the benefit is I don't have to just treat one area. I can look at you and be like, well, Mike, your back is hurting, but your hamstrings are really tight and your glutes aren't really working. And, the doctor said work on your core, but you don't really know what that means.
Hmm.
You've been trying sit-ups, and maybe you've been doing some bridges, and that's not really doing it for you. And maybe that's all the PT has had time to be able to do with you. So yes, and I can, because I'm not a healthcare provider, I'm not bound by like the billing process of which would be similar if you paid out of pocket to see a more holistic provider, healthcare provider, who would then look at, okay, we took an x-ray and we took an MRI, but then we also looked at, we might have done some, assessment of your posture or any type like that. So that's usually how I start with my sessions. I'll do a postural assessment, just visual. I don't have any special tools, and I'll use my, and then we'll move, because the body in a static position under, x-ray versus a moving body are also two separate things. And the body's posture when you're sitting upright versus when you're standing versus when you're lying down, all of those things can be a little bit different. And particularly with people with scoliosis, which is they have a curvature of their spine that affects their posture and depends varied affect on the quality of life. Their spine can behave totally different ways when they're sitting upright, when they're lying down, when they're, under load with the weights, or when they're in stretch. So all of those things, I think it's a blessing for me to be able to look at them in a variety of different formats, not just in the doctor's office.
What is the most common injury that you're seeing, Harriet? I mean, non-athletes, like, what are you seeing with
Oh,
just, yeah,
you
office work?
know, I feel like lately this low back pain, idiopathic no cause, which is like right at your hip bones. If you poke on your own body, it's you find where the bones of your pelvis are. And it's not quite your back, but it's not really your butt. It's like your back butt, your your upper butt, your lower back. That can be an area that could be that's generally the most common, and all other undiagnosed back pain, neck and shoulder pain, of course,
Yeah.
no surprise. Um, and
How much of all those are related to, like, we spend most of our day sitting in front of the computer,
I mean,
right?
like, so
100%.
if, yeah, I'm sorry.
Unless you're out, yeah, Tracy said 100%, but unless you're out lifting real estate signs,
Right. I mean, so it depends on what your day to day is. I mean, for moms, nursing moms, I had nursing mom shoulder when I was nursing my baby. That's like my rotator cuff was just not super happy. Frozen shoulder, menopausal, perimenopausal women. It's a big one that's just shoulder pain. You can't lift your arm or do anything. It's great. Gyrotonic is great for that because you can work the rotator muscles in a range that doesn't exacerbate the symptoms and slowly mobilize, which is, as I understand it, that's like the recommended protocol. And you just have to keep doing it. Like it hurts, but to help try and raise your arm over your head. But gyrotonic is a mentally stimulating and interesting, and dare I say fun, with like a lowercase f, fun with a lowercase f. This is not like an all caps fun, but this is like a quiet fun. Like it's enjoyable. And then you feel better after you leave. So yes, I would say probably 80% posture, but I would of I do always think about like, well, what if we had no cars? What if we didn't have technology? What would our injuries be? We'd probably, still have some back pain. We'd, have some knee pain from kneeling. We would, the gravity working against your body, life happens. So even to the most highly trained and conditioned human body, your stuff still happens to you. You know, people, you could get run over by a horse. Who knows if there was no,
we get that a lot in
car.
Bernal, the
Yeah.
horse
Yes,
running over.
run over by a horse.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we get that a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest, the challenge is this is probably the first time I've heard about this. So how do people
Yes.
who don't know about you and know about gyrotonics, like, how do they know that you're the solution that they didn't know they needed?
This is the problem historically with gyrotonic as a system as the whole.
Sure.
Just trainers, they find this work. It's very dance biased because that is how it started through dancers, similar to like how Joseph Pilates worked with a bunch of dancers in New York. And that it's kind of spreads from there. And it's a relatively young system, started in the 80s.
Hmm.
And so that has been a really big problem we have, which is how do you describe this? Like I wasn't prepared to just sit here and tell you about it. I was like, I need to show you at least something so you can get an idea.
Yeah.
So usually people get bored with what they're already doing. It stops working for them. People who like there are people who just like to move their bodies. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. It's like if you like aspects of martial arts, if you like swimming but you don't like getting wet, if you like dancing but you feel like you're not a dancer, but you feel like rhythmical movement and you like to be able to move your body in a not necessarily super prescribed way where you have to do, like Twister, you like right arm yellow, left hand green, right foot blue, whatever. Like you want a little bit more freedom of movement. And I feel like it's where you feel restrained in all the motions that you're doing or the activities. Um, that is, I always like to say it's for the person who doesn't like to work out. I feel like it's a great way intro into doing other things to make you feel confident. Like if you've never worked out before, this is a really great way to start. The, there's equipment to guide you. There's me to guide you. Even in a group class, our instructors will help you figure out all the equipment. So it's not like you go to the gym on your own and you're trying to figure out how to set the weights for the lat machine or something where you don't really know. It's like there's someone here to help you get into exercising. Conversely, it's for the person who you've done so much stuff. And my runner who uh, works out of the gym religiously has a very, very strong program. He was like, yeah, I just feel like I'm so tight now that I can't really move anymore. I've lost my natural coordination and like, so it's affecting my run. So I don't feel like I'm moving as a whole body. I'm just moving as parts.
So
So,
tell us where
mhm.
people can find you. Let's start with the website.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So you can find us at movementforeveryone.com. And right now I'm on Mission Street within sharing space with Synced Pilates. Avon McBride is the owner of Synced Pilates, and she has been featured on your blog before.
She has.
And we have a shared colleague who introduced us, and we did not know each other before. And she just created space for me when I had to move out of my other space sooner than I could have anticipated. So I'm really grateful to her and to her clients. They're in the class right now, even. So they're really accommodating. And we're at 3180 Mission Street
So since
between
people, I was
Cesar
gonna
Chavez
say,
and Valencia. Yeah.
but like, who are your neighbors? Because most folks don't know what 31, what that number means.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah. Oh, El
who's across
Rio.
the street? El Rio's
Across
nearby,
the
right?
street. Yes, El Rio's in there. Lion's Den is a
Okay.
barber shop is across the street.
Yeah.
The Big John Coffee this way. This
Okay.
one, I don't know how to pronounce them, but they're delightful.
Yep. They're at the
They're
corner of
just on the
Valencia, right?
corner.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Valencia and
Exactly.
Mission. Just to give folks a
And the
better idea,
new,
because one of the challenges is I know you guys are tucked away a little bit.
yes,
So like I've gone to visit Avon before and like walked past it, and I even know where I'm
yes,
going.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
for me, I had actually, I never knew she was here,
Yeah.
and I moved to Bernal in 2015, and because it's not on my school route, I would just turn on Valencia. So if you're the person who like turns on Valencia, if you're going over like Miguel to go up and over Twin Peaks that way,
Yep.
you're not going to see it. So
Yeah, so that's where I wanted to
yes.
point that out is so like you're down by El Rio, you're across the street from Lion's Den, just to give some people some points of reference, because I know you guys are a little tucked away, and
Yes.
I've walked past you, so like just wanted to
Yes.
make sure. So you mentioned you came to Bernal in 2015. Tell us a little bit about your background and where were you and how did you land here?
Oh, well, I was a dancer. I went to school for dance and then I wanted to be a professional dancer so bad. And so I was living in Boston at the time because I went to the Boston Conservatory, which is now called Berkeley University. I don't even know. That was a long time ago. And so I auditioned for Oakland Ballet um, back in 2005, and they had been on hiatus for a season, and then this was their big season back, and it was a 10-week contract. And so I moved out here and lived in Oakland at first in 2005, and then the company folded after that, which is really unfortunate. That iteration, it is thankfully now back in a way. And then I worked and I took ballet class trying to get that next job. I worked for a bankruptcy attorney as a legal assistant, and we were living in Pacific Heights. And so you just make do. And that's when I learned about Gyrotonic, which was I was taking class at San Francisco Dance Center, which is at 7th and Market. And there's the mothership of Gyrotonic there, San Francisco Gyrotonic. And they're in the same building. So I just learned about it through there. I saw all these amazing Lions ballet dancers going in there and looking incredible. And I was like, I want to look like that. So I should be doing this. And so I did it. And I thought it was very strange. And I didn't really like it, I have to say, because I was like, this is very strange. I was very East Coast. I was born in Maryland. So I hadn't adapted to the California state of mind quite yet. So I was interested in it, but it wasn't really for me. And then I got a job with Ballet San Jose and I was commuting and I was a union representative there. And our union rep was also a gyrotonic master trainer, is a gyrotonic master trainer. So she said, you should become a trainer. I said, sure. Okay. That sounds fine. I think this is a good plan B for when I retire from dancing. So that is pretty much how I got into gyrotonic and how I got to the East Coast. And we moved to Bernal because my husband and I wanted to start a family and we didn't think Pacific Heights was going to be the right place for us. And it was when we bought our house, it was very stressful. I think it's always very stressful buying a house here. So
Not if you
our
work with
agent,
Tracy.
well, yes, exactly.
How
If
was
I
that? Was
had
that a
known
good plug,
you,
Tracy? Did I do
yes,
good?
yes,
Like,
yes.
let's do it.
Exactly. Perfect. Exactly. So we found our place and
Mm.
yeah, so we've been there since 2015. Did the thing. We got a dog and then, we went through our own fertility journey. And then we had my son in 2019 and then the pandemic, like everybody. And then I had my daughter in 2023.
We always ask our guests, so what's your favorite eatery in Bernal?
Eatery?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
Oh, come
That's a
on.
hard one to pick. I know. What's my favorite? So the place that I would like go to, like the like that snap judgment, like where should we go? I'll probably go to Vega or Vina Rosa because it's close.
Yeah, we
Um,
get that a lot.
where do yeah, where do my kids want to go? We do miss Bernal Star. Rest
Yeah.
in peace, Bernal Star. Um, my kids love to go to Ed and Amy's, which is Moki's,
Yeah.
but they call it Ed and Amy's. And sometimes they call it edamame because they thought that Ed and Amy sounded like edamame. So we go to edamame, but yes, we go to Moki's a lot too because my children love that place, and I love them too. Um, Nudes, I love Nudes
This
so
is great.
much.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, so many. We're so blessed with so many great places. And like, if I'm going to go for lunch, we're probably going to roll up to Moonlight because it's just easy, fast, something for everybody. Yeah.
And I guess sort of maybe my last question, and Tracy, please jump in at any point. But one of the challenges, you're on the Mission Bernal corridor, right?
Mhm.
And there's a perception around, is that a safe corridor? So you're out there day to day. What's your
Mhm.
perception?
Um, you know, I feel like on the hill we're in a bubble
Mhm.
for sure. And we imagine ourselves to kind of be impervious to whatever else is happening in San Francisco because of that sweet little bubble, the bubble of the Bernal Village. And I have been loving walking down the hill
But
and
you hadn't
enjoying
been
the
going there
walk.
prior, right? Prior to moving,
No,
right? And
no,
why weren't you
no, this
going
is
there?
because it was dirty,
Okay.
because I think my perception was that.
Okay.
Um, and the and quite often like the times that I would want to go would be like so windy and then I have to like walk up the hill again.
Okay. We'll give
And
you
so
that
there's like a
one.
couple frictional things, and particularly like while I was pregnant, like and my husband's like pushing me up the hill. I'm like, oh, do we really want to do this? I don't think I really want to do this. Um, but I think now that I'm doing it more, one, I'm like, you can always just pop on the 24 from 30th. That's easy. But I do think the perception of the safety is mostly due to the wind blowing stuff around,
Hmm.
the traffic being loud. So it's harder to really find like an intimacy like you can find on Cortland. And that there's a lot of construction still, which, it's the look where the look of it makes you think it's like kind of that no broken windows thing.
Hmm.
I is it I, I don't feel endangered,
Okay. I
but I
mean, the
do
reason
feel
why I
like
brought
I'm
that
in
up
a
is we talk to a
uh,
lot of folks, and it's like, oh no, we would never go down there. And I'm like, you're really missing out on so much because, the thing that I always constantly mention here is there's something like 40 restaurants representing 30 different cultures along that strip, right? I mean, like
yeah,
if you are thinking of a type of food, it's probably there, you know.
yes,
So
you can
there's
have it.
all these
Yeah.
different cultures and food varieties. Obviously, it's a nightlife corridor, so it's a nighttime corridor. Um,
Mhm.
but I do know that a lot of folks on the hill, and then maybe it's the bubble that you talked about, have this concern like, oh, I don't know how safe it is. And, and particularly, I ask a lot of folks, and they're like, no, I wouldn't go down there. I'm like, you're missing a
you
lot.
know, you are missing out on a lot. Would I qualify? I would not come down here at like 5 in the morning and just hang out by myself. Because kind of like any nightlife corridor, that's those early
Well,
morning
I can't
times
think
that
of too many
just
places
aren't
in the
as
city you should
great.
be hanging out at
Right, that
5
are
a.m.
open.
on your own. But
Exactly.
yeah,
Right, exactly. But I bring my kids down here. We go to get coffee. Walk them down to
you get them a double
uh we
shot? What do you get them?
we get them pastries. They're incredible
I'm teasing because
pastries.
you're like, I bring my kids
Yeah,
for
yeah,
coffee.
yeah.
Like, all right, double shots,
Oh
good.
yeah, yes, exactly. Um, and just to expand their world
Sure.
experience, like it's not just we don't just go to the Bernal Heights Rec Center all the time and
Yep.
then stay. It's kind of so insular, like you were saying, like to expose my kids and my friends to like all the that our city has to offer. It's not just like one vanilla flavor.
All right. So now we got another question for you because I asked
Okay.
you the eatery question, but
Yes.
now I'm going to qualify it. On the corridor, the Mission Burnham corridor, where would you go to eat?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm very excited to try Fat Cat and the Mantis. Have not tried it. I'm also it's hard for me because we don't eat out a lot because I'm just coming out of like this young children during a pandemic thing.
Yep.
So it's I don't want anyone to feel like this is like I'm like if I made it out, we could go anywhere. It doesn't really matter. So in this corridor, because there is a lot of good.
Yep.
When we come down, I love El Buen Comer, City Taqueria too. Undersung burrito. Delicious. So good. They also have a plantain burrito that is like so good. So I love that. Like if I'm going to take away. Blue Plate. I love Blue Plate.
The
That's like a,
staple.
a
Yeah.
nice date place. Yeah, the staple. And of course, the kids love Emmy's Spaghetti Shack.
Of course.
Tracy, what about
Of
you?
course.
Over on the Mission Burnham corridor, where are you going?
Well, speaking of which, I have a big birthday dinner tonight. Not my birthday, friend's birthday at the Rabbit Hole tonight. So we'll be
Okay.
there
Yes.
with the group of like 20 different, with our kids too. So it's super family friendly and it's like got really cool vibes. Drinks are off the hook. I think there's a happy hour menu too.
There is.
Um,
Yes.
Yep.
I'd also like to try Fat Cat. I haven't done that. Cellar Makers, love the deep dish pizza.
Mhm.
Night pie, I have to say, at Blue Pie is my favorite. So many good spots.
My
Mhm.
favorite over there is the front porch for the fried chicken.
Mhm.
So that's one of my favorites. Elba and Khmer is definitely one that is on my list. One of the ones that is kind of tucked away, and I don't think people, always know it's there, but Playa Azul upstairs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great because it's Mexican seafood. So if you're looking for something Mexican, but you're looking for something different, the ceviche, the shrimp, all that stuff is out of this world. So I highly
Mm.
recommend Playa Azul. You can't go wrong at Blue Plate. You just can't. You know what I mean? It's a great
Mhm.
space. So whatever you think you know about Mission Bernal, we're here to tell you just go over, check it out. You'll be fine. Go visit the folks at Movement for Everyone. Go check out some of the restaurants. It really is a great corridor, and I think that most people don't even realize all the options that are over there. What the other place is the sushi place. Uh,
Mm.
that place is
Shisai?
killed. Yeah,
No.
this is bad.
Is
Like
that
I'm
what it's
supposed to
called?
know
Okay.
what I'm talking about, right? And I'm like, yeah, the sushi place. That's helpful, right?
Uh, well,
But it's a sushi club. Um,
Very good.
yes.
yeah,
Chelsea's
that place
young.
is killer.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are watching, and we appreciate all of your support on Cortland, but every once in a while, just wander a little bit and go on down to Mission Bernal. I tell you, you won't be disappointed. We, Harriet, we appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate you explaining what's going on. Hopefully, folks will have a little bit more of an understanding of why they should come to see you. Tracy, what's going on in your world? Tell me what's going on.
Well, I want to say, we've got the upcoming Hillside Garage sale August 8th. That's going to be like super exciting. If people don't know or haven't participated before. They have over 100 families, over 100 households participating this year. So, sign up for it, or go participate, go buy some stuff. People have lots of very interesting things stored in their garages, I have to say. And then there's also a treasure hunt, I believe, associated with that event. And of course, if you're at the library, I just want to remind folks I've got really, really wonderful events there. August 1st, 2 to 5 p.m. we have the Origami Club. That's a weekly event. And then there's a Lego building event, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. August 5th. And then there's a family dance party. I forgot about that. It's every month on the 22nd of August, 4 to 5 p.m.
I love the Hillwide garage sale because I know that we're buying next year's garage sale stuff. Like we buy something, I'm like, oh yeah, this is just going right back into the like it's gonna go in the garage and we're gonna be selling this next year. So we are supporting the ecosystem, I think. The garage sale ecosystem. Tracy, a pleasure to see you. Harriet, it was great to learn more about what you're working on. Folks, check out the website, movementforeveryone.com. Figure out where they are on Mission Bernal. If you can't find them, walk past it again. It's there. I swear it's there. So thank you, everybody. If you like what you're hearing, give us a like, give us a share, tell your friends, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.